Welcome to the Sarah Watts YouTube channel. Welcome, Sarah. I'm Kevin. We today are going to talk about your recorder tutors, recorder methods,
right,
as we shall call them. So, I tell you what, tell us what we've got here.
Well, there's a variety, so people sometimes ask which is which. So we thought we'd just show you the books and how they differ. First of all, we've got here Red Hot Recorder and Red Hot Recorder 2.
Red Hot Recorder 2, I'll cover up the sticker on the front.
And then we've got Red Hot Recorder Songs, which I'll tell you a bit about in a minute. Ready Steady Recorder, which I'll tell you about in a minute. And then Razzmatazz, which was the original one, and then one or two sort of supplementary things we can chat about afterwards. Yeah.
So, Red Hot Recorder and Ready Steady Recorder.
Yes.
They're both beginner recorder tutors.
Yes.
But there is a difference between them, which I think we'll go into. Razzmatazz it's not as such a recorder tutor, but there is a method behind it, isn't there? You build up.
Yeah, it moves in step. But it's useful for you can teach by it if a teacher prefers to do their own method and just use the repertoire, or it can be just used for repertoire, or you can go back and use it for somebody that wants to sight read, or just use it for fun, because there's some fun pieces in there.
Yeah. So it kind of works in conjunction with the tutor, but if you've got a little bit of knowledge, you could go straight for Razzmatazz. But we'll get on to Razzmatazz.
Okay.
Let's start with Red Hot Recorder, which I believe is still the #1 recorder tutor in the country.
Yes.
Just put that out there. So, Red Hot Recorder, we've got Red Hot Recorder 2. We won't start with that one. We've got Red Hot Recorder Songs, but the big tutor, Red Hot Recorder Tutor 1.
Yes, that's right.
Now, I should say these are for descant recorder.
They are, or soprano recorder. That's right.
Which is if you're teaching in school or really a beginner, that's the instrument.
The recorder that you would play.
That you're going to start on. Yes, that's the one we all grew up with.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm just going to have a quick check on. So the point in this video is we're going to try and identify which book is for you. So if you're faced with the choice either on a website or in a music store, which of these to buy, we're going to kind of go through, what are the core things in each book, what makes them individual. So starting with Red Hot Recorder, what's different about Red Hot Recorder? Why should you buy Red Hot Recorder?
Well, they're all good, I have to start by saying.
Oh, you should buy them all. Yeah, definitely, you should buy all of them.
But
if you have to choose one, what are the elements in Red Hot Recorder that would suit?
I'll start by saying why I wrote it to start with, and that is because I wanted to write something fun and jazzy and upbeat with feel-good backings and that sort of thing, but with still being really sound technique-wise. So I didn't want to skimp on that. So there's lots of fun pieces, but there's also lots of ways that you can teach rhythm, technique, different ways to of blowing long notes, this sort of thing. So there's different elements to it. Introducing the notes one at a time: B, A, G, E, D, C, top D, F with a little finger, and so that's the order that we teach them in. So we have to start with introducing the notes one at a time, and then we have practice patterns, so just 2-bar little phrases to learn how to read the notes with the correct rhythms. Lots of fun pieces. Then we have a rhythm session, Red Hot rhythm session, which has a backing, so sort of jazzy tap dance music that you can clap the rhythms to. And then fun pieces like the famous Mike Oliver's Tank Top, Gobstopper Waltz, and the famous EBGBs, lots of pieces with fun things to do. It moves fairly quickly, this book, and that's why I wrote the next one, but there's lots of fun repertoire, and I just really wanted a book that was going to inspire pupils to kind of feel good about what they're doing, thinking they're doing something really special, making them want to turn the page and go on and learn more. So that was the first book. Okay, so what we're really saying about Red Hot Recorder is it's a tutor for a complete beginner. Yes. It takes you through everything that you need to know. Yes. So you're learning about rhythms, notation,
recorder fingering. You're playing your first few pieces.
Technique, yeah.
And we're going to get on to Ready Steady Recorder, but we're saying that this one perhaps moves slightly faster. So,
Yes.
depending on sort of, we'll talk about age ranges for these later, but depending on, I guess, as a teacher, how musical you are. If you're more musical, you might find that you can kind of work your way with a class through this one.
Yes.
But this is like I say, it's the number one selling recorder tutor. It's been used in schools here and abroad as well.
Absolutely.
We should also mention, which we haven't got here. There is an American version that's still for sale. There is a German version
yeah.
as well. So it is out there. It's
Yes.
very much out there.
Can I just
Yeah.
say that actually, if you are a non-specialist, you can
Yeah.
easily use this because it does it all for you. So
Yeah.
it tells you what to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's also Red Hot Recorder Book 2, Tutor
Yes.
2, which basically takes you on from where you've got up to in Book 1 and
Continues into the next octave.
continues
yeah.
into the next octave.
Yeah.
So more songs, more method in there. Obviously, you've learnt a lot about rhythms and things, but there's still other things
There's
in there,
lots
scales,
of the same,
and
but kind of moving forward. Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
And then we've also got Red Hot Recorder songs. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Well, Red Hot Recorder song was just a follow-on from Red Hot Recorder because the pieces with lyrics were so popular, people asked for more.
Yeah.
So, and there's lots of fun things to do in here.
It's quite a well-known method as well, isn't it? That
yeah.
teaching instrumental music with lyrics can really help in the beginning stages.
Absolutely,
so, so a great accompaniment to both the Red Hot Recorder books.
Yes.
Moving on then, so Ready Steady Recorder came about quite a bit later. I know why this is because I commissioned that with you, but tell us about the reasoning behind Ready Steady Recorder.
I wrote Ready Steady Recorder because we wanted something that moved a bit slower and also something that was suitable for younger students, although having said that, it works for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's very visual.
Yeah.
So, unlike a lot of tutors, there's pictures to show you how to put your fingers. Lots of visual learning here. Fun things to do. Actually, perhaps moving around a bit. Some games. Ways to encourage nice playing, like imagine you're blowing bubbles if they're going to pop. If you're blowing too hard. Encouraging tonguing and the right sort of way to play, but lots of fun pieces and lyrics that help you with the learning on all the pieces. So actually, if you're a non-specialist, this does it all for you.
Yeah.
Rhythm sections again, pieces like Walking to Wherever, Hooray for A, Watch This Space to teach about rests. Rhythm rhymes, Stop and Hop, so you can actually get up and hop in time to the music. There are lots of these things that are, aren't compulsory, but they're fun. New Note E, You Don't Scare Me. So this is definitely for younger students, but works well with all ages because it does, teach as you go along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what we should say about this and the Red Hot books as well is that they all come with backing tracks and performance tracks as well, so you can listen to how they go
in two tempos. Right. Quite often when you get backing tracks, everything's too fast, so these are really nice and slow to play first of all, and then in a performance you might like to try and do it at the full tempo. And there's piano accompaniments with all these too.
There is, so there's teachers books with piano accompaniment. So if you are a musician, you want to play along, you can do that. You've got the tracks that you can use as well. The tracks, they're nice and jazzy, aren't they? Sort of
feel good.
Yeah, definitely feel good tracks. Lots of percussion and things on there.
Right.
Also, on the Red Hot Recorder and the Ready Steady Recorder, you currently get a CD with them, but they're also available for download as well.
That's right. So if your student loses the CD, then you can get another one.
Yeah, and so everything, however you want to get it,
Yeah.
with those ones.
Absolutely.
It's all available for you. So I think, the Ready Steady Recorder. Wait, I'm going to cheat and tell you about the cut that we've just made then, because we were trying to work out a way of describing Ready Steady Recorder, and the word is steady.
Steady, absolutely. that was the idea.
How did I not get that? But yeah, it's a steady learning process.
That's right, yeah.
And I wouldn't say in any way, shape or form Red Hot Recorder is rushed or fast.
No.
It's just, if, like you say, you've got a younger student, or again, if you aren't, sort of, if music is not your primary subject, this might be a good one to get you into it, and then you might move on to go, well, actually I want to go up to Ready Steady Recorder in a future year or something like that.
Absolutely,
So they are the two tutor books that are very specifically tutor books or series. We also have Razzmatazz Recorder here,
yes,
which we've included in this video because, again, you can use these from scratch,
yes,
if you've got a certain musical knowledge already there and you're filling in the gaps with your teaching, but also they accompany these books really well, don't they?
Yes.
Do you want to take us through?
Yeah. Well, Razzmatazz was actually the first one that I wrote, and it's still being used. It's still very popular. So it moves in step from B, then A, G, E, D, etc., like the others. But they're just fun pieces, and they have what we used to call a feel-good accompaniment. So that these students playing something very simple, but actually feels as if they're playing something that's quite sophisticated and clever. But they move in step, not only in note but also in rhythm, so nothing's introduced too quickly, but I think people enjoy having these pieces that kind of sound fun, perhaps aren't so taxing, and can be learnt very quickly.
Well, I think exactly what you said there. I think, if you take the first piece in this book, it's just one note.
That's right.
But you've got this sort of feel-good accompaniment that means that you immediately feel like you're playing something more technical than you're actually playing, which just gets people into it.
I try and do that with all my books, actually.
But I think it's, and then you're building up. So I think the second piece is still one note, but adding in different rhythm.
That's right.
By the time you get to the end of the book, let's go to the end of the book. This is book one, isn't it, I think? So the end of the book, 5 Jive. I mean, you've got a really nice...
You've got a blues there.
Bluesy,
and actually,
jazzy
you
piece,
could use that for improvising too.
Absolutely,
Yeah. In fact, I do use that occasionally for teaching.
Really nice piano accompaniment there, and nice on the backing track as well. But, I mean, again, I think, so with 5 notes by that point, but it's a proper...
It's a blues.
It's a proper repertoire piece, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
I like the idea of also being able to use these in conjunction with the other tutors. So when you've learnt those 5 notes on those tutors, you've got maybe 1 or 2 pieces in that book. But you could then add in another, potentially sort of 3 or 4 pieces that students play. That also, I'd say, are slightly longer than this book. Is that fair?
Yes, they are. And also, what I should say is that... in some of these, I wrote lyrics to, so you could actually perform these in a concert, but with other singers, or and they do appear in other books, so in different guises. So they're kind of really very versatile.
Oh, absolutely. So the moral of what we're trying to say here is buy all of these books.
Yes, please.
But so that's Razzmatazz Recorder. We've also got a few things to kind of that you can then expand upon.
Yes, that's
maybe
right.
Once you've worked through the tutors. So tutor-wise, we're kind of saying Ready Steady Recorder is for complete beginner at a slightly steadier pace. Red Hot Recorder, if you want to move slightly faster and you feel like your class can cope with that, then brilliant. Razzmatazz, you could use completely on its own as a method of learning each note at a time. I think if you've got that knowledge to teach rhythm and a few other things, the tutor books go through things like repeat marks and layout of music and
That's
music
right.
notation.
Yeah.
This one doesn't.
No, these are purely
It
pieces.
expects you to already know those things,
That's right.
which again use in conjunction, or if you've got the knowledge to teach that, then these can
That's
also
right.
be used
Yeah,
straight off.
yeah.
What else have we got in your little pile there, Sarah?
What I would like to say is actually in my writing, my main aim is to be useful and actually to provide lots of really good, solid repertoire that teachers, because 30 years ago there was nothing, and so there is lots now that you can encourage and can use with beginners, and some beginners will only ever play 5 notes, but they're going to have lots of fun playing 5 notes.
The repertoire is there right from the beginning, because like we were saying about the first piece being 1 note but a really nice accompaniment.
That's right.
I remember tutor books back when I was little, a long time ago, and if you were playing a 1 note piece, you were playing a 1 note piece, and there wasn't anything of interest within that. So the repertoire is there right from the very first piece you learn. You could perform that
absolutely, and it's going to be a positive experience, and hopefully you'll play 3 notes but you'll remember playing 3 notes,
and they can go straight into assemblies or concerts, or they're perfect for it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
these are for often people say, oh, what do we do next? And there is a book too for Red Hot Recorder, but also I've done these books for easy ensemble. So there's the really easy duet book. I think that's for descant and treble, but there are books for 2 descants as well, so you can once you've learnt some easy tunes, that you can go on to those, or go on to the other ensemble books, which we'll talk about in another video perhaps. Windbags recorder ensemble, so that's easy recorder ensemble, and then these repertoire books, which actually do appear in some of the syllabuses too, for easy pieces. Fresh Air for recorder.
So grade 1 to 3.
And there's little studies in there too.
I would presume that certainly if you did Red Hot Recorder 1 and 2, you're then happily moving on to,
I would have thought
to this standard, aren't you?
And further. So, there might be a couple of pieces that are fairly easy for that. But there's more to encourage you and more to turn the page. So proper repertoire. That's right. Lovely. Razzmatazz repertoire. That's a similar sort of feel to that. There's lots of fun pieces, or they've all got a kind of a jazzy feel, or a kind of an upbeat feel, or a, it's the feel good idea. Duets and trios for recorder. There's some easy ones or some slightly harder ones, and then actually this is one of the latest ones I've done, the Recorder Hub series, which has got lots of fun repertoire, new repertoire, because a lot of syllabuses have had similar repertoire all the time, so we thought it's good to get some new things out there. There's some good old favourites, and I've done arrangements of them, so that's a fun one to go on to. So
there's something for everybody. It takes you from being this range of books takes you from being a complete beginner up to some fairly advanced.
I'd say about grade 4 probably, this, or maybe but there's some easy pieces too, so it's a good investment.
That's a book that's going to cover you for a long time, isn't it? That one.
That's right.
So as a lot of these as well, and duets and the group playing thing as well, I think is really important, because quite often using these methods, it's taught in a classroom situation rather than a one-to-one. So having then songs that you can do with different parts going on, I think is really, really important.
Ensemble, it's an introduction, isn't it? It's nice.
Age range for these. So these are primary school resources at the Ready Steady Recorder and the Red Hot Recorder end. I'm guessing a book like this could go to an older audience as well.
Absolutely,
What age would you start? Would you suggest that the recorder starts? I'm throwing this at you. Didn't tell you I was going to ask you this.
Well, there's different schools of thought, and it depends on the child, I think. I mean, I have had students start from even 3 or 4.
Oh wow!
I think if a child's hungry to play and is interested and you can do that. Obviously, you don't want to put them off by
No.
introducing something too early. But generally, schools, I think, sort of 5 or 6, something like that.
Yeah, and these books are perfectly aimed for that age, aren't they? I think.
Yes, absolutely. Ready, Steady, Recorder certainly could start at 5 or 6, definitely.
I think very importantly, Ready Steady Recorder, when you look at it, and Red Hot Recorder, but you know it's there to engage the children.
Fun. Yeah, they're all fun.
Yeah, the teacher book is there for the teacher. These books are, they're the graphics that are in there and all the little fun things to do.
Yes,
they're there to engage for children, and they do. Lovely. Well, that takes us through all of the recorder methods. So thanks for joining us. We're going to be around for loads more videos coming out on the channel. So please do like, subscribe, and click the notification bell for Sarah's channel, and we'll be back with another video soon. Ready Steady Recorder. A little bit, just what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say slower.
Takes a bit more time over learning the notes, perhaps.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Steadier.
A bit. Yeah. Look.
Steady, Ready, Steady Recorder.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. So.
Yeah.